Hello friends, welcome to Scientific Investing and welcome to this new video. So जैसा कि मैंने कुछ दिन पहले ट्वीट किया था कि I will make a video on real estate sector to understand this sector better. So that is what we are going to do in this particular video. और बिफोर वी स्टार्ट, अगर आपने हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो डू सब्सक्राइब टू आवर चैनल. And some declarations before we get into the content. So सबसे पहली बात, we will be talking about a lot of companies. I am not a registered investment advisor, so please do your own due diligence. Whatever we are discussing, this is not a stock recommendation. Also, I may or may not have positions in some of these stocks. The other thing is whatever we are going to use in terms of content or any book name or whatever, there is no commercial interest. The mention of these books names will be more for educational purpose. So अभी हम क्या करने वाले हैं कि we will see real estate sector and इसको हमने चार पांच कैटेगरीज चार पांच पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया है. The first part we will focus more on the history of the sector and understanding the sector, कि सेक्टर क्या है, बिजनेस मॉडल्स क्या हैं, कंपनीज किस तरह की हैं. Once we go through it, then we will try to focus specifically on the cyclic behavior of this sector. And मैं आपको बता दूं कि we are in a bull market and we all like to talk about opportunities, but it is the practice of managing risk which saves our money. एंड स्पेशली जब हम साइक्लिक सेक्टर्स की बात करते हैं, रिस्क मैनेजमेंट और भी ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. सो प्लीज़ गिव ड्यू कॉशन टू दिस सेक्शन वेयर वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट साइक्लिसिटी, and I will take you to almost 20-25 years back in the data just to highlight how dangerous cyclic industries could be. But इरादा डराने का नहीं है, इरादा ये भी है कि वी टॉक मोर अबाउट दी अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ ऑल्सो एंड सी कि कहाँ पे क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं. बट बिफोर दैट, अंडरस्टैंडिंग दी सेक्टर फिनेंशियल्स इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज ये सेक्टर थोड़ा डिफरेंट है. इसमें वो टिपिकल फिनेंशियल काम नहीं करता. So both financial and valuation, it's little different. So we will touch upon the financials and the valuation, and we'll try to understand the risk and opportunities, and then we'll see some of the case studies how to play this sector.
So सबसे पहले when we are talking about real estate sector, the question is कि क्या है real estate sector? Because when we talk of real estate sector, the general impression is whatever residential complexes we live in, and that is what real estate sector is all about. But if we look at real estate sector in industry terms, it composes of 5 different sub-segments. पहला तो हो गया आपका टिपिकल रेजिडेंशियल, विच इज the residential houses, and it is the biggest part of real estate sector. In fact, it contributes almost 80% of real estate sector. And यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि it's a very fragmented market. In fact, till 2 years back, there were more than 27,000 real estate residential builders. और यहाँ पे रीजन वाइज प्लेयर्स होते हैं, प्राइस बैंड वाइज प्लेयर्स होते हैं, and some of the prominent names are Godrej is there, which is a national player. Then in South, Shobha and Prestige is there. In North, DLF is there. In Western India, Oberoi and Hiranandani is there. And some of them are premium builders. अगर मिड टायर अफोर्डेबल बिल्डर्स में देखें तो आशियाना है, एल्डेको है, कोल्टे पाटिल है. Then comes the commercial real estate, which is basically the office spaces and all which you see. एंड यहाँ पे ज़्यादा प्लेयर्स नहीं है, बिकॉज यहाँ रेप्यूटेशन, ब्रांड, ये सब बहुत मायने रखता है, बिकॉज इट्स अ B2B बिजनेस एंड यू आर बिल्डिंग फॉर द कंपनीज हु डोंट वांट टू कॉम्प्रोमाइज एंड देयर आर स्ट्रिक्ट डेडलाइंस टू बी फॉलोड एंड ऑल. सो यहाँ बहुत ज़्यादा प्लेयर्स नहीं है, और कुछ नामी प्लेयर्स में DLF इज देयर, प्रेस्टीज इज देयर, ओबेरॉय इज देयर, Nesco is there, RMZ is there. RMZ, it's not a listed company, but it is again one of the prominent commercial real estate players. Third comes the retail part. So आप malls first जाते हैं तो somebody constructs those malls. So ये जो malls walls का business हो गया उसको भी real estate में डालते हैं जो retail में आता है. Also the typical business where it attracts lot of private equity investment and all, this business has attracted. There are some more interesting businesses coming, जैसे ये जो whole data का और cloud computing का जो wave है. So somebody needs to build all these infrastructure from a real estate perspective for the cloud infra. I am not very sure कि इसको commercial में आएगा. Mostly ये commercial में आना चाहिए. But so far it has covered only office construction and all. Though it is kind of office construction, I have kept in retail, but it could be somewhere in commercial. It might be more on the commercial side. The fourth, which is there, is the hospitality one, which is basically the construction of hotels and all. And construction of hotel or leasing business, this is also a part of real estate. And as of FY 2019, there were more than 133,000 hotel rooms constructed. The last one is SEZ business, which is special economic zone, which is created for conducting business, and some specific tax rebate and all are given. And India has formally approved 425 SEZ, out of which 265 are operational. Or typically you will see a lot of IT companies which are part of this SEZ business. So हम क्या करेंगे, हम basically इस सेशन के लिए अपना फोकस पहले चार पे रखेंगे, which is the residential one, commercial one, retail one and hospitality one. So सबसे पहले तो रियल स्टेट सेक्टर. सो अभी आपको इतना पता चला कि हाँ, रियल स्टेट सेक्टर में एक रेजिडेंशियल बिजनेस होता है जहाँ पे आप अपार्टमेंट्स और सोसाइटीज कंस्ट्रक्ट करके आप लोगों को देते हैं, which is more B2C and commercial. But there are different ways and there are different kind of business models. And I have tried to give perspective on how many ways you can dissect business model. Because आप जब भी कोई कंपनी एनालाइज करते हो, सबसे पहले आपको समझना होगा कि बिजनेस मॉडल में कंपनी कहाँ पे आती है. एंड देन अकॉर्डिंगली उसका नेचर ऑफ बिजनेस, उसका कस्टमर टाइप, उसका रेवेन्यू, उसका फिनेंशियल, उसका अकाउंटिंग, उसका वैल्यूएशन, वो सब कुछ डिफरेंट होगा. सो यू कैन नॉट पेंट ऑल द रियल एस्टेट कंपनीज विद द सेम ब्रश. आपको वो समझना होगा और देन अकॉर्डिंगली आपको अप्रोच करना होगा. So सबसे पहले तो in terms of uses, as we saw, we have residential, commercial, real estate, retail and all. Then comes the source of revenue. वो real estate company अपना revenue कैसे कमा रही है? वो revenue construction करके उस construction को बेच के कमा रही है, या फिर उस construction से वो उस premises को rent पे देके rental से कमा रही है, या कुछ hybrid model है? And I will tell you there are different kind of companies. Like अगर आप residential में आ जाओ तो आपको, जैसे मैंने बोला कि आशियाना हाउसिंग है. अगर construction based में जाओगे तब भी वो सारी कंपनी आती हैं. But there could be companies like Oberoi Realty which has malls, which has hotels, and they get rent over that. So they do construction also and they have rental also. Then comes what is the kind of financial model the company has incorporated. So is it a land bank kind of model जहाँ company जा जाके land banks acquire कर रही है, and then over a period of 5-10 years they are trying to monetize that land bank by doing doing real estate construction and then selling that constructed property. Or it is a JV model जहाँ पे company land owners के साथ tie up कर रही है, and they don't buy the land but they do a joint venture where the landowners get some kind of monetary value, either in terms of money collected as a part of sales, or they also get some apartments which they can sell and all. Or there could be a contractor based model जहाँ company real estate developer नहीं है. So a developer is one who does more of financing. The developer arranges the financials and then it outsources the construction work, whereas the contractor is one who takes that construction contract, does that construction, gets his payment and then moves out. उसको sales वेल से कुछ नहीं लेना, उसको financial से कुछ नहीं लेना कि कैसे financials arrange होगा construction के लिए, कैसे बिकेगा, वो सब developer का काम है. तो there could be different combinations and every company may be focused on one specific kind of model, or it might work on हाइब्रिड स्ट्रक्चर जहाँ कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स जेवी हो रहे हैं, कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स लैंड बैंक हो रहे हैं, but there are companies who are either contractor or there are companies who are more of developer. Like a lot of infra companies are present in infra as well as real estate, like Tata Construction हो गई या फिर आपका Simplex हो गया. So ये सब infra contractor भी हैं और ये real estate में भी करते हैं. Then comes the construction type. Whether what they are constructing, it's a new construction or it's a redevelopment. Now the concept of redevelopment may not be maybe new to or may not be existing in many parts of India, but Mumbai is a market where redevelopment is a well known concept because the space is limited. So उसी space को पे मकान को हटा के फिर नया बनाया जाता है, तो that is the concept of redevelopment. Especially cities which have geographical constraints in terms of expanding, redevelopment is a concept predominant there. I think Hong Kong में भी है. फिर दूसरा है कि आप सब कुछ खुद से कर रहे हैं या फिर आप आउटसोर्स कर रहे हैं. तो पहले तो एक मेन जो कंस्ट्रक्शन था उसको आउटसोर्स करने की बात थी, बट कंस्ट्रक्शन में भी आपको बहुत सारी चीजें लगती हैं, योर होल फैब्रिकेशन एंड प्री फैब्रिकेटेड स्ट्रक्चर, ये सब. तो आप वो सब किसी और से खरीद रहे हो या आपने पूरा बैक एंड उसको इंटीग्रेट किया हुआ है जहां आप ही खुद वो प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हो और देन कंज्यूम कर रहे हो, बिकॉज यू आर टू मच क्वालिटी कॉन्शियस and you don't want to give this part of thing to somebody else. And there are companies like if you see Shobha is one of the player which is to a great extent backward integrated, plus you outsource and you buy from outside the part. Then comes the geographical aspect, the city tier. So there are few companies which are national level companies like Godrej, and then there are companies which are present primarily into tier 1 cities like your Prestige and Brigade of the South India. And then there are companies which are predominantly present in tier 2 cities and beyond, like your Ashiana Housing or Eldeco Housing and all. And there could be companies which might be present in tier 1, tier 2 also. Then comes the price band. So there are certain companies which are more involved with government projects. जो government की housing योजनाएं होती हैं, वो basically उसके लिए construction करते हैं. They are very, very small players. We will not focus more on that. And then there are affordable housing players which do in fact there are a lot of players who have migrated or shifted or created a revenue mix towards affordable housing, like Kolte Patil and all. And ये whole concept of affordable ये भी अपने आप में थोड़ा interesting है. जैसे IT में वो digital का concept है कि everybody talks digital, but you don't know what is the definition of digital because NASSCOM has never given a definition of digital. So even creating a website is digital and even creating an app is digital. So same way, every state has its own definition. You can say what is affordable, and what I am telling is all from the con call transcripts and all what I have read. So, but you can sense a price band where the company operates and all, that is affordable. You can say somewhere around, your 20 to 30 lakh kind of bracket you can call. I mean, very weak kind of definition. And then there's a mid tier, which is like your 50 lakh to 1 crore. And then there is a luxury, which goes into, 1 to 10 crore kind of thing. And again, you have different players. See, one player cannot play in all the segments because there is a brand, there is a perception. Some companies, what they have done is they have created the luxury brand name separate, and they have floated a separate company with a very different brand name for affordable and all. Like Purvankara has done something like that. So, but mostly different companies, they are either present in one tier or other tier, or a tier which is close to each other in terms of price band. Then comes the sales strategy of the company. There are companies which do channel-based sales where you have your brokers and the agents and then do sales. But there are certain companies which have not outsourced their sales just to ensure that they have complete control over the sales process and the customer. And they do more of a direct marketing. They have their own sales team, like Ashiana Housing is one such company. And the last model is the outcome, whether it's delivery or it's a services. And this is something interesting. Right now, India may not have a lot of services company, but as we will go into next decade and all, let's say we go from 2020 to 30, 30 to 40. I don't know if you've seen some data on the demography, how our demography is going to change, and India is going to get older. And you'll see the percentage share of older population will increase. And old age housing, it's a very, it's a popular concept in developed and old age nations. For India, it might be very, very new. And there are certain companies which are working in, this specific segment. It's a very small segment right now, but maybe 10, 20 years down the line, it can become one of the bigger segment. And this is not a typical real estate kind of skill model, because it's about services. You have to service those people, their needs, their healthcare needs, their recreation needs and all. So it needs a service mindset, which is very, very different from how the typical current real estate companies are. But this is another kind of outcome based business model, which is little niche and different as of now. So now when you think about a company, you need to think from each of these perspectives that where this company falls. And in this video, we cannot cover everything in detail, but I just wanted to give you a perspective so that, even in this sector, there could be different kinds of companies, and we shouldn't do an apple to oranges comparison. Now the third thing is कि sector को आप कैसे track करते हैं, and every sector has its own set of operational metric. So अगर आप typical residential real estate लो, तो आप घर देखने जाते हो और कोई builder है जो 100 flats बना रहा होता है, तो you will book your flat. So the typical way this business is tracked is कि कितना area book हुआ है, and basically you take a cumulative sum. So अगर किसी builder का 5 properties construction में है, एंड लेट्स से कि हर प्रॉपर्टीज में 100 फ्लैट है, तो टोटल 500 फ्लैट हो गया, और लेट्स से कि हर फ्लैट 1000 स्क्वायर फुट का है, तो ऑलमोस्ट 5 लाख स्क्वायर फुट का कंस्ट्रक्शन कर रहा है. उस 5 लाख स्क्वायर फुट में से कितना एरिया बुक हो चुका है आज के डेट में? 1 लाख स्क्वायर फुट बुक हुआ है, 2 लाख स्क्वायर फुट बुक हुआ है, दैट इज योर एरिया बुक. सेकेंड इज व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ एरिया बुक. सो लेट्स से कि अगर 1 लाख स्क्वायर फुट एरिया बुक हुआ है और पर स्क्वायर फुट लेट्स से कि वो 3000 रुपए पे चल रहा है, तो आप 1 लाख को 3000 से मल्टीप्लाई करो, वो जितने भी करोड़ में आएगा वो आपका वैल्यू ऑफ एरिया बुक हो गया. थर्ड क्या है कि कितना एरिया कंस्ट्रक्ट हो चुका है. सो लेट्स से कि 5 लाख स्क्वायर फुट का एरिया बुक हुआ है, 4 लाख स्क्वायर फुट का कंस्ट्रक्शन हो चुका है, बट एरिया बुक सिर्फ 1 लाख स्क्वायर फुट हुआ है. So that means कि the company is lagging. They are not able to convert their sales, because out of 5 lakh square foot, they have already finished 4 lakh square foot of construction. Maybe next 6 months, 1 year, they will be finishing everything. And so far, they have not sold even more than 25% of the overall area, which means कि उनका पूरा पैसा working capital stuck होने वाला है जब तक वो बेचते नहीं है, and it's big inventory issue. So that is why how much has to be constructed, what has been booked, and what has been constructed. So how much is to be constructed, what has been booked, and what has been constructed. इन तीनों को साथ में रख के देखना बहुत जरूरी है to understand कि कंपनी कहाँ अच्छा या खराब कर रही है. Is the issue lying with too much supply? Is the issue lying with lack of ability to sales? वो जिस भी रीजन से हो. So area to be constructed भी मैंने बता दिया. Rental yield is like as a investors we look for dividend yield कि अगर 100 रुपए का शेयर खरीदा है तो 2 रुपए का डिविडेंड मिला तो 2% का yield है. It is similar to that कि अगर आपने 1 करोड़ का प्रॉपर्टी खरीदा और आपको साल में अगर उससे लेट से 5 लाख रुपए का रेंट आ रहा है, तो यू विल से 5% इज रेंटल yield, जो आज के डेट में बहुत कम चांस है मिलने का. सो द नेक्स्ट इज रियलाइजेशन कि आपको पर स्क्वायर फुट पे कितने पे बिका. सो दैट इज लाइक टोटल वैल्यू ऑफ एरिया बुक. जैसे अगर आपने लेट्स से कि 5000 स्क्वायर फुट पे बेचा है, और अगर आपने 5000 रुपए पर स्क्वायर फुट पे बेचा है, तो व्हाट यू कैन डू इज you can divide the total money value of area book divided by total area book, and you will get your per square foot rate. Next is collection कि एक given amount of time में कितना पैसा collect हुआ, because if you see the way it works is आप पहले ही दिन पूरा पेमेंट नहीं करते हो. अगर आप कुछ खरीदते हो और उसके कंस्ट्रक्शन में 2 साल बाकी है, तो मे बी आप हर महीने पे 5% पे करोगे. अगर आप एंड में जा रहे हो जब 90% कंस्ट्रक्शन खत्म हो चुका है, तो आप एक बार में 80-90% करोगे पेमेंट. तो डिपेंडिंग ऑन एट व्हाट स्टेज ऑफ कंस्ट्रक्शन इज अकॉर्डिंगली, और व्हाट काइंड ऑफ व्हेन यू आर गेटिंग इनटू इट, you will pay different kind of amount, and accordingly the collection for the company for every property will differ. And the last and very important thing is advances. This is similar to what advances you see in the balance sheet, but why it is important is more from the accounting perspective, बिकॉज आप जो भी पैसा देते हो ना बिल्डर को, वो पैसा तुरंत रेवेन्यू में कन्वर्ट नहीं होता. And especially now with delivery based accounting, and we'll talk about it in valuation and financials, what is that. What happens is आपका पैसा उस दिन या उस महीने रेवेन्यू में नहीं जाता, वो बाद में जाता है. तो वो पैसा बैलेंस शीट पे एडवांसेस सेक्शन में जाता है. ना वो एडवांसेस क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है? लेट्स से कि एक कंपनी का ऑल ऑफ सडन एडवांसेस बहुत बढ़ गया, दैट मीन्स कि बहुत कस्टमर से पैसा आया है बट हो सकता है वो रेवेन्यू में नहीं दिखा रहे हो, विच मीन्स दैट कुड बी इंडिकेशन कि आगे चल के रेवेन्यू अच्छा होने वाला है. तो वी विल सी मोर अबाउट इट, बट आई होप दिस गिव्स यू आइडिया कि आप कैसे ट्रैक कर सकते हो रेजिडेंशियल रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर को. कमर्शियल इज लाइक सिंपल दैट यू हैव बिल्ट इट एंड आपको कितना रेंट आ रहा है, एंड यू सी कि आपको बनाने में कितना खर्चा आया, आपका कितना रेंट आ रहा है. That is like your rental yield, or you can say your IRR over a period of time, कितना आपका रिटर्न आया and all of that. But that is simple to track because एक बार बन गया तो you know the cash flows and you know कि कितना कैश आ रहा है और कितना खर्चा हुआ था. But this residential side is little complicated, and hence I just wanted to explain. Also, there are a few points I want to highlight on understanding the sector. Typically, in any geography, 1 से 2 साल का इन्वेंट्री बहुत हेल्दी माना जाता है, बट एट टाइम्स इन बैड टाइम्स इट गोज टू 3-4 years, एंड एक्चुअली ये अभी 3-4 years से ऊपर है. एंड सिटीज लाइक दिल्ली, there is a 7 year of inventory, and Noida has contributed, NCR in Noida, they have contributed big time, and we will see some of the reasons why. Also, इसमें एक चीज और है, and this in one of the interviews, the CEO MD of Oberoi, Mr. Vikas Oberoi, he said कि ये कौन सा इन्वेंट्री है, दैट इज ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट. इफ इट इज अ इन्वेंट्री ऑफ अर्ली स्टेज कंस्ट्रक्शन, देन इट्स ऑब्वियस कि वो बढ़ेगा. बट इफ इट इज अ इन्वेंट्री ऑफ लेट स्टेज कंस्ट्रक्शन, लाइक आई सेड कि 90% कंस्ट्रक्शन हो गया और बिक ही नहीं रहा है, तो दैट इन्वेंट्री इज वेरी डेंजरस. एंड व्हाट आई हैव सीन इज most of the research reports, they don't provide that kind of breakup, but it is important to understand. Second, typically in investing we say कि debt खराब होता है, debt नहीं लेना चाहिए. Now, in real estate, debt is a vehicle of growth, and then there are companies which take a call that they don't want to grow through debt. There are companies who take debt at the right time, and there are companies who always take debt. But in asset light model, because the way it works is like, अगर आपको 50 एकड़ का एक लैंड पार्सल डेवलप करना है, तो before you start the project, because of government regulations and charges and all, you need 250 crore in hand to do that. Now you cannot do that in an asset light model until people are willing to fund you, and that is where the role of debt comes. अगर आप debt लेते हो तो आप ज़्यादा project कर पाते हो. If you are very bullish about the market environment, your capability to sell, you can go aggressive and you can do it. So debt is a double-edged sword here. And typically it is said that in real estate, try to go where there is a high activity, whether it's IT activity or industrial activity, because वहाँ पे वो ecosystem बनता है और लोग आते हैं, and hence properties sell quickly. Also, many times I have seen in many reports, people will compare कि US का per square foot real estate ये है, इस country का ये है, उस country का ये है, India तो सबसे कम पे है. But what they don't talk about is not two countries are same. There are a lot of nuances and there are a lot of differences. Like if you see the kind of FSI in India, FSI is like कि आप vertically जा रहे हो ना, construct कर रहे हो, तो कितना गुना आप construct कर सकते हो नीचे एरिया के vertical, something of that sort. कि अगर आप का 100 स्क्वायर फुट का एरिया है तो आप अप टू 500 स्क्वायर फुट ऊपर जाके कंस्ट्रक्ट कर सकते हो, समथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट. Now, different countries have different FSI norm. Like China is having 50 to 20, even like Pakistan has a FSI of 8. But in India, it is low. And there are comments from Mr. Hirandani that like, these kind of things may need to change. Plus, more about the corruption. Like he tried to quantify on a per square foot what is the kind of corruption. So, बहुत कुछ differences है. And we cannot compare directly India with Hong Kong. Maybe Mumbai could be, but again Mumbai का भी आप FSI देखो और बाकी countries का, like Hong Kong, there is a lot of difference. So before we just directly compare companies, I think those nuances are important. The other important thing is कि 2017-18 में RERA आया, which is a very projected as the next strong act. But the execution of RERA is in the hand of state government, and not all the state governments are acting with same rigor. And there are certain state governments which are leading, certain lagging. एंड हाउ द इंडस्ट्री इज शेपिंग अप ऑल्सो डिपेंड्स, बिकॉज रेरा आने के बाद जहां रेरा अच्छे से एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है वहां ये जो 27,000 बिल्डर्स थे काउंट घट रहा है, एंड एक्चुअली द मार्केट इज श्रिंकिंग and not everybody is able to live up to the norms, because you cannot go old way and do things your own way. So जहाँ ये अच्छे से एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है वहाँ आई थिंक जो ऑर्गेनाइज बिल्डर्स हैं उनको ज़्यादा फायदा हो रहा है, जहाँ नहीं हो रहा है चीज़ें वैसे ही चल रही हैं. बट ये कंसोलिडेशन has started and it may not be same rigor in all the states. And the future of commercial estate, what I've read is it's more based on smart real estate. So you have to see about the LEED certification hai ya nahi, because in LEED certification you can track all the consumption of the building from a ESG perspective and all of that. So that is where it is going. So it's not just about constructing the building, but the ESG norm, the smartness, the design, the architecture, all of that is important. And there are companies which charges a premium because of all of that, and again we'll see. So I just wanted to give some information about all these aspects of business so that you have better understanding of business.
Now, looking back into the history of this sector and the overall cyclicity, ये एक ऐसा सेक्टर कि यहाँ साइक्लिक नेचर 2-3 साल में नहीं आता. रियल स्टेट साइकिल्स बोथ इन टर्म्स ऑफ बूम एंड बस्ट दे कुड बी वेरी वेरी लॉन्ग. समटाइम्स रियल स्टेट साइकिल 8-8 साल का साइकिल होता है, जहाँ 8 साल the whole sector is depressed and then there is a boom comes. So it is important to look at the data and understand how dangerous or how rewarding these cycles could be. So what I'm going to do is I have tried to find certain data points, of course charts वार्ट्स देखेंगे, but I have tried to go through some of the presentations of some companies which are very renowned in real estate space, and try to look at the data going to history. In fact, many of you who are this is your, in case this is your first cycle in the market, maybe because you are young, just 20-25 years old, maybe in 1995 and 1990s, you wouldn't either you wouldn't have been there, or you wouldn't have any idea of how this sector played out. But the beauty of looking at data is कि हम डेटा से बहुत सारी चीज़ें सीख सकते हैं. So let us look through it, and what I have tried to do it, एक तरफ तो मैंने थोड़ा डेटा लिया है, डेटा क्या कहता है. Also I have gone through lot of books. So there are very dedicated set of books written on real estate, and ऐसा नहीं है कि मैंने ये सब पिछले 1 महीने में किया है. Actually because we are talking about cycle, 2-3 साल पहले भी रियल स्टेट का एक बहुत बड़ा वो आया कि इस बार तो रियल स्टेट बहुत ऊपर जाएगा, एंड एक्चुअली स्टॉक्स वेंट 4-5 टाइम्स अप. वो पूरा अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग का थीम था 2017. And when I was exploring this sector at that time, I did some research and I ended up reading 2-3 books. Now looking at the data and looking at the books, I have tried to join the dots and explain the cyclicity. So it's very very important section, and let us look at it about the cyclicity of this sector.
So looking at the cyclic aspect of business, this is a pretty interesting chart, and it goes way back to 1995. Don't look at all the other things, just look at the bar chart. And this chart is from one of presentations from HDFC Housing Development, HDFC की जो रियल स्टेट लेंडिंग कंपनी है. ये जो आप येलो कलर का बार चार्ट देख रहे हो, बेसिकली ये उनका प्रॉपर्टी का वैल्यू दिखा रहा है बेस्ड ऑन देयर ओन डेटा एंड देयर ओन हैंडलिंग. What is interesting is if you see the property prices in 1995 to 2000, huge crash from almost, this number was 25 lakh. This number fell down to almost 12 lakhs. And then, so almost 5 years, and then it took almost 9 years to bottom out. And then the new wave, new real estate trend started. So 1995 से 2003, almost you can see 8 to 9 years of down cycle. So imagine you have entered in 1997 कि हाँ 2 साल से नीचे अब तो पैसा बनेगा, but see that this much long this sector can be. And जब मैं शुरू में बोल रहा था कि cyclicity वो सब ध्यान में रखने का है, this is what I wanted to highlight. And then a bull market started for real estate sector, and then from 2003-4 till 2008 when the peak happened. I mean, the last biggest boom you would have heard about DLF and Unitech and 100 bagger and whatnot that happened in this period after 9 years of lull. But what is interesting is ये क्यों आया इसकी भी story है, इसके पीछे का data नहीं है, but मैं आपको बताता हूँ. So there is a very interesting book, and again read these books with a pinch of salt, because the books, some of the books you will feel maybe they're trying to magnify some of the company's personalities, but we have to understand how to get rid of biases and where to focus. So there is a chapter on Prestige Group for Mr. Irfan Razak, and there is a statement. He says 1994 was a boom period for real estate in Bangalore. Irfan describes this fever as by the time you go to settle a deal and come out of room, price would have increased. Just imagine the kind of pace. And before that, between 1982 to 1990, Bangalore went through stagnated real estate prices. So 8 साल का bear market, then 1991 to 1994 huge boom, and then 1995 to 2003 again a bear market, 2003 to 2008 again a boom. 2008 to this, the prices kept increasing, but the valuations of the companies went so high that people didn't make money. I mean, not all the companies, but as a sector index. And then again, it peaked somewhere in 2014. And if you see from 2014 till 2020-21, not much has happened. So we are almost in 6 years of phase. And यहाँ पे तो price decrease हुआ था, यहाँ price decrease नहीं हुआ है. But if you take inflation, with 5-6% of inflation, अगर price increase नहीं हुआ है तो that is like a 30% correction. And इसका तो आप पूछो मत, this kind of correction. So we are getting data from 1982 if we can triangulate and connect, assuming कि Bangalore and ये chart representative है. ये 8 साल का bear cycle, फिर 4 साल का boom cycle, फिर 8 साल का bear cycle, फिर 4 साल का boom cycle, फिर 4-5 साल का boom cycle without any stock price appreciation, and then again price is flat. So this is how the real estate cycle behaves, and it is very very important to understand. एक तो सेक्टर का साइकिल समझना कि सेक्टर कहाँ पे है, और उसके बाद उसमें वैल्यूएशन का साइकिल समझना. सो जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड द कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ दिस सेक्टर. इट साउंड्स वेरी jazzy to give a 5-bagger target and 10-bagger target. Even in 2017, those kind of targets were given, and companies went from 100 to 400 and then came down from 400 to 75. So more important is being right time, and more important is exiting properly, else the return you are going to make वो भी सारा चला जाएगा. So it's not an easy sector to play. There is a lot of effort, lot of skill required for entry, and more important for exit. And if I go further and explain this in terms of chart, see what kind of value destruction has happened in good times, because this sector का index का data ही 2007 से है. From a 2007 एक साल में ही 80% का return आया, but all that return got lost, and even after 12-13 years, we are sitting at a 60% loss in the index. That is the kind of one overvaluation this sector had, because nobody looked at cash flows, profit. It looked like कि बनाते जाओ पैसा छपता जाएगा, and see the kind of value destruction which has happened. So don't take all these things easily, because in bull market कुछ भी target दिया जाता है, but see the reality and see the history, and let's learn from it. And DLF, which was like the poster boy of that boom and big in real estate index constituent, the stock has also behaved in the same manner as the indexes. From 1000 rupees got corrected to 110 rupee, 90% correction within a year, and then even after 10 years in 2020 it was hovering around the same price. And ऐसा नहीं है कि पहले ये बूम का फेज नहीं आया है. अब 2016 देखो तो 2016 में ये डिमोनेटाइजेशन में इट हिट द लो, एंड देन 100 रुपए से 220 गया था, यहाँ पे अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग और सारी बात हो रही थी, देन अगेन नीचे आ गया। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि रियल स्टेट का स्टोरी पहले फ्लोट नहीं हुआ है, पहले भी हुआ है, एंड हेंस इट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि इस बार होगा कि नहीं, या इस बार भी वही हालत हो जाएगी। Then if you see Unitech, a stock which went from 2-3 rupees, actually इससे पहले यहाँ आप देख रहे हो 17 rupees से almost 900 rupee, and 900 rupees से आज 2 रुपए का है, promoter जेल में है, and lot of things. The other thing is this sector has lot of dependence on government and permission, so lot of lobbying and all happens, and that is what happened to one of the companies, Unitech. एंड इवन 1-2 साल पहले आप देखोगे कि उसका लैंड पार्सल है नोएडा में, तो एयरपोर्ट में, तो यहाँ तो वहाँ, एंड देन स्टॉक विल गो 3x एंड देन अगेन इट विल क्रैक. So again, be very very cautious about the investments. What kind of you will find all sorts of companies in this sector. एक DLF है जो 90% गिर गया, मूव नहीं हुआ, मूव हो रहा है. Unitech है जो गायब ही हो गया, I mean 99% value destruction. Shobha, one of the most prominent builders, and Shobha has done really well in South India. I mean, it is one of the most premium builder where people pay the premium. It has a good brand name. But see what Shobha stock has done. 1,000 rupees से 66 रुपये पे आ गया, and even after 10 years 1,000 rupees से 120 रुपये टच किया, और अभी जाके फिर 600 रुपये पे है. See how fast the cycle changes. So being late in the cycle and then not exiting properly could be very very dangerous. So and पहले भी शोभा गया है इन सब prices पे. If you see, it is almost at the same resistance level where it peaked out in 2017, and the question is what will happen this time. And somebody is entering here, what is his risk reward, and if it is not a day-to-day trading or weekly trading, he is looking from a long term, is it a right place to enter. Prestige same story. बहुत ज़्यादा करेक्शन नहीं हुआ बिकॉज वो लिस्ट ही बाद में हुआ. दिस डेटा इज नॉट फॉर 2007, इट इज फ्रॉम 2011, बट स्टॉक इज नॉट गॉन एनीवेयर. Ashiana Housing, interesting because this company was one of the few companies which created wealth, and literally from 29-30 rupees in 3 years it became almost a 10 bagger. बट 2015 में टॉप बना के 320 रुपीज से वापस 36 रुपए पे आ गया, और आज के डेट में 36 रुपए से 165 रुपए पे. एंड अगेन द क्वेश्चन इज, विल इट रिक्रिएट मनी लाइक दिस, और इट विल फिस आउट. If you see Oberoi Realty, again one of the players which has created decent money from 2014, कम से कम 155 रुपए का स्टॉक आज 703 रुपए पे है. So it's a good story. Godrej Property, another wealth creator. A company, Eldeco Housing, I don't know how many of you know, but this company, if you see, a known name, but 50 रुपए का शेयर आज 3,000 रुपए का है. And again, it looks like it is crossing the previous resistance. So different kind of names which were the poster boy, the biggest company didn't do anything, 90% value destruction. Names which got into wrong things, 99% value destruction. Names which have the brand name but still the price investor well didn't get created, and names which have brand name and which have done well, and names which may not be so popular and done extremely well. So we'll see about what all of this is. But see, even though the sector is cyclic, you are seeing that even in a cyclic sector, different companies have given different kind of investor returns, but the fall is severe, the rise is severe, all sorts of things are there. And the last one, Colte Patil also, 2008 से अभी तक बहुत बार ऊपर नीचे, but if you see the CAGR, so what is important message is the entry and exit matters a lot. And just I want to give some more flavor of cyclic aspect. And again, there is no disrespect to any investor or anybody mentioned in this name. The idea is just to highlight the human emotion, and ultimately we all are responsible for our money, and we all make these kind of calls, and out of 10, 5 calls go wrong and we exit. So the idea is just to understand, because we are in bull market, to understand ऐसा पहले भी हुआ है और पहले भी चीजें गलत रास्ते पे गई हैं. तो if somebody says कि 5 bagger बनेगा, do your own research, manage your own risk reward. So 2017 was a time when housing finance companies were projected as next big thing. Many people were bullish, 1,00,000 crore की कहानी और क्या क्या, and now nobody talks about it. And even in that time there were a few who were not very apprehensive of कि ये play out होगा या नहीं. So I've just tried to put both perspective. But the idea is कि उस समय भी ऐसे गेन्स बने थे. सो मोमेंटम का मतलब ये नहीं है कि पैसा इट यू मेक मनी टिल इटर्निटी, सब कुछ ऊपर जाता है नीचे आता है। एंड अगर 4 बैगर ऑलरेडी बना है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि यहाँ से 5 बैगर बन जाए। We have to see how fundamentally the story is playing out. We have to see the charts. We have to marry both of them, then take a call. But we very cautious of these kind of 5 bagger बनेगा, 10 bagger बनेगा, ये लाख करोड़ का कहानी है। Look at the fundamental, look at the number, look at your own research rather than all this social media buzz and noise. Now, how to understand the cycle, and though timing any cycle is very difficult, and frankly I failed. Like in 2017 I made money and I lost money, and in Kolte Patil, because of demonetization I was able to pick at a very high level, but वो 100 रुपए के बीच का 80 से 100 में जो पिक किया और 400 पे गया और फाइनली मैंने 250 पे बेचा। And then there are stocks where I have my own biases, and I will talk about them because the companies were good and I knew the companies in some way. I had my own biases of quality, but in a bad sector, even a good quality company may not create wealth. And that is where, I had to exit in 20-30% losses in one of the favorite companies. So, the experience has been mixed in 2017 cycle. 2006-7 cycle I don't want to talk about because I was just entering the market, and I mean I knew nothing, and there was nothing to apply. I mean there was no knowledge, so not much to talk. But at least I saw that 2007-8, I saw 2015-16, I'm seeing this now. So I have tried to collect some indicators which can help us to know where we are in the real estate cycle. And first thing is cycle time. So because you saw last 30-35 years of data, the cycle time is typically 4-5 years of boom, 7-8 years of burst. So at least you should see where you are in the cycle time so that you are not at the extreme if you are not able to time it properly. So if the bottoms, if you are 3-4 years from the bottom sales, and if you are 5-6 years from the top of the sales. So what I mean is कि पीक सेल्स किया कंपनी ने, लेट्स से 1000 करोड़ का सेल्स किया और 5-6 साल हो गए हैं, अभी तक वो पीक सेल्स क्रॉस नहीं कर पाया है बिकॉज ऑफ डी ग्रोथ, देन इट माइट बी पॉसिबल कि 1-2 साल में बॉटम बन जाए। और जब आप बहुत अच्छा बॉटम से 2-3 साल बिता चुके हो, सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा है, इट्स टाइम टू बी कॉशियस एंड यू कैन नॉट टाइम इट। इट्स नॉट लाइक कि जब खराब रिजल्ट आएंगे तब मार्केट गिरेगा। मार्केट इज इंटेलिजेंट, मार्केट पहले ही गिरता है, साइक्लिक में पहले ही गिरता है। सो यू हैव टू टाइम इट एंड leave something for somebody else and you have to exit. So don't try to time it properly, but see where you are. The second thing is rental yield. Because in depressed times the yield becomes important because prices fall, फिर आपका rent improve हो जाता है. But when prices shoot up की property value 20% 30% से बढ़े जा रही है जबकि rent 5% से बढ़ रहा है, तो your yield decreases. Third is interest rate, because when interest rates are very high, and most people in India, they cannot afford to buy full in cash, they take loan. So जब interest बहुत high होता है तो of course उसका EMI high होता है, तो tendency to take, it's not like यही drive करता है. And there could be times when even at a high interest rate sector is done well because maybe people are earning very good, the economy is doing very good. So it is one of the factors, but it has its own contribution. तो जब interest rates बहुत low पे होता है, it's financially more viable to buy properties because आप कम EMI पे करते हो. जब interest rate ज़्यादा होता है तो आपके लिए costly हो जाता है, तो interest rate also plays. And you can't look at 20-year interest rate and mean, because 20 साल पहले आपको FD में 14-15% का रिटर्न मिलता था. तो the idea is to look at last 5-6-7 years what has been the interest rate cycle, and then what is the mean cycle, and right now where are the interest rates? Is it like at the bottom, at the top, in the middle? And then accordingly you can take a call. And it's not like a mathematical formula, but you have to take all of this into consideration and build a mental image of where we are in the cycle. Price CAGR. So I remember in 2007-8 times, friends of mine who purchased house and the like 30 लाख का घर 80 लाख का हो गया, and they were boasting कि तो best business है property में लगा. और and then there are times when people are telling कि 4 साल में rate ही नहीं बढ़ा, loss हो गया है, inflation FD का भी return नहीं आया. So that's another indicator. One more indicator is keep reading these con calls and try to identify companies whom you can really trust and companies who are typical non-trustworthy companies. The companies and promoters whom you can trust, what you will see is the companies which have survived multiple cycles. They are good in identifying the cycle and doing the deal. When the deal is not good from a ROCE and IRR perspective, they just sit on cash, and when the time is right, they go aggressive and they buy lands. So look for such promoters, and we will talk about some of these promoters who are they, who sometimes they like to sit on cash, and sometimes they are aggressive and they go and they scout for deals. And this is another interesting piece from a book called The Consolidators, which is about second gen entrepreneurs. And one chapter is dedicated to one entrepreneur from real estate, Mr. Vikas Oberoi from Oberoi Reality. And I've taken certain statements which Mr. Deepak Parikh has been made about him. So there have been times where he has gone aggressively and purchased land, and there have been times when he just sat out because the deals were not conducive, and we'll see what he's doing right now. So you have to track what these guys are doing, and that itself will give an indicator where we are in the cycle. Also, when a cycle goes through a worst phase, real estate looks like the worst sector. People, industry players cry कि government आप कुछ करो, and government comes with the scheme कि अगर आप real estate sector में घर लोगे तो आपको tax benefit मिल जाएगा. Then the state governments, because sector move नहीं होता, it is one of the most high job creating sector, they try to give incentives, stamp duty घटा देंगे. So you have to see कि कितना stress है, government क्या कर रही है, या no incentive required because sector is doing well. The last and most important piece is कौन फंड कर रहा है रियल स्टेट सेक्टर को. एंड टिपिकली इफ यू सी इज especially what has happened in this 2015 to 18 cycle, banks became cautious and they stopped lending, and then the NBFCs, they came and they were lending at high rates like 15%, 20%, 22%, and then they were showing a lot of profit. But imagine, एक तरफ डिस्ट्रेस में रियल स्टेट का जो बिल्डर है वो हाई रेट पे लोन ले रहा है, अगर दूसरी तरफ वो सेल भी नहीं कर पा रहा है तो एक दिन तो ये फूटना है. एंड दैट इज व्हाट हैज हैपेंड. एंड ऑल द एडेलवाइस एंड पिरामिल्स, again, frankly, I was lucky enough to escape because of certain personal experiences where I was not bullish on housing finance companies because of certain bad personal experiences on the ground, knowing what is happening, how these deals are working. But this is another activity where you have to see who is funding in the channel, at what rate it is being funded and all. And still, apart from all this, still real estate is a micro market phenomenon where certain companies can do really well in a specific micro market. And at the same time, it's a lot of macro dependent also, because agar recession aa jata hai, to nobody thinks of buying a house. Everybody is like, job bacha rahe. And after all this, even good companies, they don't escape this kind of cycle in real estate. They go through. So it's cyclic irrespective of, good companies, but still the companies with good balance sheet, good execution skill, with a brand name, they are the one who sail through the tough times and they become aggressive and they create some wealth in the good time. So that is how this cycle works.
अब ये एक ऐसा सेक्टर है कि आप टिपिकल फिनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट जैसे एनालाइज करते हैं, आप हर केस में इस सेक्टर में वैसे एनालाइज नहीं कर सकते. एंड नाउ ऑलरेडी यू नो देयर आर डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ बिजनेस मॉडल्स, बट वो जो टिपिकल रेजिडेंशियल वाला जो मॉडल है उसमें आप जिस तरीके से एक नॉर्मल P&L एनालाइज करते हैं कि हाँ भाई ये मेरा रेवेन्यू है, ये मेरा एक्सपेंसेस है, कैश फ्लो जनरेट होना चाहिए, ये हो सकता है उस तरीके से काम नहीं करेगा. एंड आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू वाई. Also in terms of valuation, what I have seen is most of the people, they just look at the P or all that and they say it's overvalued, undervalued. इस सेक्टर में P टाइप के रेशियोज काम नहीं करने वाले. एंड अगेन आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू क्यों नहीं काम करेगा with certain examples. So let us look at the financials and the valuation aspect of this sector.
So to understand the financials, this is a little tricky because the way it works is little different. And 3-4 years back, it was more project completion method. It was like कि अगर आपने 50% project complete किया है तो आप वो 50% पैसे collected को revenue में दिखा सकते हो. but it's it's a vague concept. How do you define what is 50% completion? उसमें बहुत कुछ था. And few players they started doing a delivery based method, and later on now everybody is shifting, I think because of some regulatory push. Now a delivery based method is कि जब तक आप कस्टमर को घर की चाबी नहीं दे रहे हो, आपने जो पैसा कलेक्ट किया है आप उसको रेवेन्यू में नहीं दिखाओगे. तो अगर आप जानते हो कि whenever they construct a society, it takes 2-3 years of construction. अब लेट से कि 1000 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी है, अपने पहले साल 300 करोड़ कस्टमर से कलेक्ट किए, दूसरे साल 300 करोड़ कलेक्ट किए, तीसरे साल 300 करोड़ किए. ये सब जो 900 करोड़ कलेक्ट हुआ है, ये जब आप डिलीवरी दोगे घर का तब जाके आपके रेवेन्यू में आएगा. उससे पहले ये बैलेंस शीट में एडवांसेस में बैठा रहेगा. So in a delivery based method, the revenue is recognized only when the delivery of property happens. However, the construction expenses of that project, it keeps happening in the P&L side. So आप अगर 1000 करोड़ का प्रॉपर्टी बेचने के लिए बना रहे हो, तो आपको लेट्स से कि आप 20% मार्जिन पे काम कर रहे हो, तो आपको 800 करोड़ का एक्सपेंसेस आया. वो एक्सपेंसेस चल रहा है, बट उसका रेवेन्यू आपका, वो कलेक्शन आपका रेवेन्यू में नहीं जा रहा है. तो यू सी, the P&L works in a different time frame. The revenue side of P&L belongs to a different time frame. The expense side of the P&L works in different time frame. So the point I want to highlight is कि इसमें P&L देखने का कोई फायदा नहीं है, because I find really funny when people in real estate in a delivery based method they try to ask कि quarterly result अच्छा क्यों नहीं हुआ, because the revenue and expenses they're not aligned, and hence it doesn't even make sense to look at the cash flows, because जब P&L ही की बात सही नहीं है तो फिर cash flow कहाँ से आया. And the amount collected from the customer but not yet recognized in revenue as the delivery has not happened, that goes and sit in balance sheet. तो क्वेश्चन होता है कि इसको कैसे एनालाइज करें फिर फाइनेंशियल को वैल्यूएशन में. सो विल सी ऑल ऑफ दैट, एंड आई जस्ट वांट टू शो यू वन एग्जांपल. सो लाइक इफ यू सी दिस कंपनी का, इफ यू सी इनकम फ्रॉम ऑपरेशन कंसोलिडेटेड 259 करोड़ का इनकम किया है, और एक्सपेंसेस भी ऑलमोस्ट 259 करोड़ के हैं. सो नेट अगर आप देखोगे तो कंपनी ने लॉस ही बनाया है. कुछ तो अदर कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इनकम है आ गया है, और ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं हुआ है. बट व्हाट आई वांट टू हाईलाइट इज, सी द कस्टमर एडवांसेस. FY20 में इसके एडवांसेस 176 करोड़ थे, एंड फ्रॉम 176 करोड़ दिस ईयर दे हैव कलेक्टेड एडवांसेस ऑफ 400 करोड़, विच इज ऑलमोस्ट 1.5x ऑफ द रेवेन्यू. को ये एडवांसेस जिस दिन डिलीवरी होगी वो रेवेन्यू में कन्वर्ट होगा. सो नाउ आई होप यू कैन अप्रिशिएट कि इसमें P&L देख के कोई ज़्यादा फायदा नहीं है. नाउ in terms of valuation, so as I said, PE, कैश फ्लो, ये सब देख के कोई फायदा नहीं होगा. यहाँ इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है कि इन्वेंट्री ट्रैक करना इंपॉर्टेंट है, एडवांसेस ट्रैक करना इंपॉर्टेंट है, सेल्स ट्रैक करना इंपॉर्टेंट है, कितना कंस्ट्रक्ट करना है, कितना कंस्ट्रक्ट हो रहा है, और कितना बिक चुका है. इस तीनों का कोरिलेशन अंडरस्टैंड करना इंपॉर्टेंट है. और फिर यू नीड टू मेक योर प्रोजेक्शन कि अगले साल कितना डिलीवरी में होके रेवेन्यू में आएगा और क्या होगा. दैट इज हाउ यू मेक योर valuations. The other thing is कि इनका कितना इन्वेंट्री होल्ड कर रहे हैं. इन्वेंट्री बढ़ तो नहीं रहा है. अगर इन्वेंट्री बढ़ रहा है, सेल्स नहीं हो रहा है, कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा है, तो वो सब भी इम्पोर्टेंट है समझना, कि ऐसा तो नहीं है कि ये बेच नहीं पा रहे हैं. तो ये सब समझना ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. एंड अगर आपको वैल्यूएशन करना है तो जो रेंटल काइंड ऑफ मॉडल है कमर्शियल का, जहाँ आपके मॉल्स हैं या ऑफिस स्पेसेस हैं, what is the cash profit it generates, you give some kind of multiple, assuming maybe 15 times multiple or 20 times multiple, whatever you want to give. जो रेजिडेंशियल है उसका सिंपल तरीका ये है कि बिकॉज इट्स हाईली साइक्लिक, एंड आई विल शो यू अगेन इन सम एग्जांपल्स. किसी साल हो सकता है वो 10 लाख स्क्वायर फुट का कंस्ट्रक्शन करें और किसी साल 5 लाख स्क्वायर फुट का कंस्ट्रक्शन करें. सो वी हैव टू टेक अ मीन वैल्यू कि दिस इज मीन सस्टेनेबल, and then this is the kind of construction they can do and they can sell, which is a normalized number multiplied by the per square foot rate, and then you give some valuation कि ये अगर अगले 10 साल तक करें तो क्या होगा. So these are very simplified way. Else the way is, अगर कोई कंपनी 20 प्रोजेक्ट करी है, go project by project, you do all the calculations, but think about the amount of time you will spend. Even after knowing a sector, you will spend so much time, and that is why the infra and the real estate sector, it is little tricky because इतना effort डालने का जरूरत है क्या, एक तो super cyclic है, then your sum of part valuation, if they have 20 SPVs for each project you do the, so that is why, you know, it has to be attractive enough to be done on a back of envelope calculation, which I tried to show you through first two methods. So summarizing the key risk, if you see, one, it is a cyclic, super cyclic industry, whether it's a residential or it's commercial, it's cyclic because industrial slowdown होता है तो office spaces का demand घट जाता है. दूसरा क्या है कि लो बैरियर टू एंट्री है तो उसके कारण हर कोई घुस सकता है. अभी ये थोड़ा कम हो रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ द रेरा एंड ऑल वेयर इट इज द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन इज स्ट्रॉन्ग. वो 27,000 बिल्डर्स कम होते जा रहे हैं तो the market is shifting towards players who have strong balance sheet, who have good execution, but still it has been a cyclic industry and there is no barrier to entry. Second, there are a lot of unethical practices possible. एक तो कस्टमर साइड से भी इंडिया में बहुत लोग कैश में पे करना चाहते हैं, एंड इवन कंपनीज हु आर रेप्यूटेड, समटाइम्स दे डोंट नो हाउ टू हैंडल इट बिकॉज nobody would like to let the sales go. The other way is lot of companies, they get into hoarding of properties through different means, like they will sell the property to agent and they will show in the customer advances, आपको लगेगा कि हाँ पूरा प्रॉपर्टी बिक रहा है, सब अच्छा है, और वो एजेंट बेच नहीं पा रहा है, एंड द आइडिया इसकी प्रॉपर्टी प्राइस बढ़ाते रहेंगे, बेचते रहेंगे. बट व्हेन साइकिल टर्न्स, इट्स अ डबल एज सोर्ड बिकॉज आपका बिक नहीं पाता, फिर वो सब इशू हो जाता है, फिर आपका लोन का इशू हो जाता है, देन आपका कैश नहीं आ पाता कंस्ट्रक्शन करने के लिए, आपका प्रोजेक्ट का डिले होता है, फिर क्रेडिबिलिटी जाता है. तो यू हैव टू बी वेरी सेलेक्टिव अबाउट द हिस्ट्री ऑफ द प्रमोटर, कितने साल रहा है, कितने साइकिल देखा है, क्या किया है. Regulation is another risk because in some state, and real estate is a very state based topic, the policies will differ state to state. So even to analyze a company you have to think from the regulatory risk perspective of that state. कुछ स्टेट में the norms are so easy that कोई भी जाके कंस्ट्रक्शन कर सकता है, एंड उसमें अगर इंडस्ट्रियल स्लो डाउन आ गया, खूब सारा कंस्ट्रक्शन हो गया, बगल का स्टेट आपको बेटर फिजिकल इंसेंटिव दिया, एंड दैट इज व्हाट हैज हैपेंड विद द नोएडा मार्केट, that so much was constructed and then the whole thing tanked because of all of this. Interest rate, as I discussed, it's another risk. At high interest rate, the motivation to buy property goes down, and of course macroeconomic risk because recession आया तो लोग घर नहीं खरीदेंगे, इंडस्ट्रियल स्लो डाउन हुआ तो जॉब्स नहीं होंगे, जॉब्स नहीं होंगे तो नए लोग नहीं आएंगे, नए लोग नहीं आएंगे तो नए घर नहीं बिकेंगे. So you see, there are so many risks this sector has. So opportunity के लिए कितना रिस्क लेना है, because when there are too many moving parts, it's very very different to time the cycle, and that is why I get scared when people tell कि यहाँ से 5 गुना बनेगा, यहाँ से 10 गुना बनेगा. Who knows what risk comes, but because investment है, करना है तो, and अपना अपना risk reward है. So the good part is from the opportunity side, players who have good balance sheet, they have tailwinds of execution, they can survive and grow, they are the one who can create money. Smart commercial real estate, because not like residential में 27,000 players हैं, commercial में थोड़ा market stable है, there are limited players and it's relatively more stable and less volatile than residential. And companies who have a prime advantage in terms of design side, in terms of building smart spaces, they have built a brand name for themselves, they know how to manage, they can do relatively better. E-commerce, warehousing, data center infra, these are some of the latest opportunities, but the problem is a lot of these are coming in off market side. Mainly it is happening more in the PE market and those kind of things. So need to be seen if there is any listed company where we can take advantage. The next is a differentiated service based model, and it may not play out in next 2 to 3 years, but as a country we will become older and we will need more old age homes, more service based concepts. अभी क्या है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम हो गया है तो जाकर होटल में रहो और वहां से काम करो. आई डोंट नो इफ दीज थिंग्स विल पिक अप, but the idea is agar it gets towards more service based real estate concept on providing certain services, and it needs a different kind of organizational gene to crack it. Some of the companies are doing it at a very very small scale. It may not be contributing to a lot to their top line, but this is something interesting space to watch. And other opportunity could be special situation where demerger or a merger, like इंडिया बुल्स ग्रुप को एम्बेसी ग्रुप ने एक्वायर किया, दोज काइंड ऑफ सिचुएशन. या फिर मुझे याद है 3-4 साल पहले अरविंद ग्रुप से अरविंद स्मार्ट स्पेसेस करके कंपनी निकली जो रियल स्टेट में थी. It was such a small company that people who were holding Arvind, they offloaded and the price fell, and then good opportunity got created. So these are the ways in which money can be made. And we will see how to play some of the use cases, especially in the tailwind side with a good balance sheet, good execution company.
सो अब सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन कि हाउ टू प्ले दिस सेक्टर. बिकॉज हम जब रियल स्टेट सेक्टर के बारे में सोचते हैं तो दिमाग में सिर्फ रियल स्टेट की कंपनीज आती हैं. बट माई व्यू इज़ there are different ways to play this sector, and the risk reward in each of the ways could be different depending on how much capacity one has to take the risk and the reward. One can decide which way he or she wants to play the sector. So we will see 3-4 examples, और हम एक international use case भी देखेंगे. And why I'm covering is because the general perception is this kind of sector cannot create multi-baggers over a long period of time. But I think it is all about business models, and you will always find exceptional companies who have done this. So the idea is just to explain and highlight that look for differentiated kind of business models in case you are able to find, and things could always happen. Plus we will see some of the real estate sector companies where we can see what kind of potential they have. We will see from valuation perspective, we will see from fundamentally उस company में क्या हो रहा है और technically charts कैसे लग रहे हैं. We will see all of that in different types of opportunities, and so that one can take a call. But again, none of these are stock recommendations. I may or may not hold one or some of these, and I'm not a registered investment advisor. So please do your own due diligence and always think about the risks before the opportunity. So let us see some of these use cases.
So how to play real estate? So पहला तो ये है कि आपको डायरेक्ट खेलना है या इनडायरेक्ट खेलना है. And what I mean by direct and indirect is, direct means आप directly real estate sector की companies में पैसे लगा रहे हो. That could be your residential or commercial, like Ashiana Housing is a pure residential one. Kolte Patil, I think, also pure residential. If you go to commercial side, Nesco is pure commercial, no residential. DLF could be a mixed. Oberoi Realty is a mixed. India Bulls Real Estate, which पहले तो वो residential में ज़्यादा था, but now with Embassy acquisition, I think their residential and commercial is equally distributed. So you need to take a call where you want to play, what is the tailwind, where is the tailwind. ऐसा नहीं है कि real estate का tailwind. अभी क्या है कि real estate मतलब सब कुछ ऊपर जा रहा है. I mean residential जा रहा है, commercial जा रहा है, कहाँ जा रहा है वो देखना होगा. The indirect way to play is, if you are bullish about this sector but you don't want to have a very high risk appetite, you play either through the ancillaries or you play through the financials. And ancillaries means कि घर बनता है तो उसमें चीजें लगती हैं, उसमें टाइल्स लगता है, पंखे लगते हैं, लाइट लगता है. So there are players which are in ancillary market and they are present in the aftermarket also. So even if real estate नया demand tank करता है, the aftermarket keeps them stable. So they are lesser volatile and they do get tailwinds of the business, but the tailwinds are not कि price 5 गुना भागेगा, but downside भी protected रहेगा. The other one is housing financing companies, where you will get through the, it's a financial leverage business, where you get companies like HDFC, which is again cyclic, but again, compared to real estate companies, that could be less cyclic. So we'll see some of these. And what I have tried to do is, I did some exercise a few years back, and from almost 200 plus companies, I shortlisted the blue one companies are interesting to study, and 90% of the companies got disqualified because of leverage, working capital intensity, poor track record. They had sister companies, they're blacklisted and all of that. But these could be some of the interesting companies. और ये जो अलग से blue में है, it is not Indian companies. We'll discuss about it separately. But it's a very interesting case study. So you can look at some of these companies to do your fundamental analysis. We will cover some of these companies. So NVR is interesting because NVR is a real estate player which has become a 100 bagger, and it could sail smoothly past 2008. And how it has been able to do, because it has a very healthy cash conversion cycle. I mean, these kind of numbers of 57 days of cash conversion cycle, India में तो residential में सुनने को नहीं मिलेगा. And very attractive 1.76 fixed asset turnover, debt free kind of company, lot of free cash flow generation, and very stable revenue and profitability track record. May not be great, but for a US market in real estate after 2008, 9.5 and 10.9% numbers are very healthy. And what they do is they don't hold land banks. What they do is, that is explained here. So they don't engage into buying land banks, but they acquire finished building lots and they get into contracts, and they pass the contract accordingly. So it's like they are not taking the risk of the land and land prices and the balance sheet risk. They try to mitigate that risk, and then through this kind of contracts, pass on contract, they have tried to build it. And then of course there is a diversification in terms of micro market, focus area, risk, and all of that. Also, the focus of the management is on return on capital, and the compensation structure is related to that, cost consciousness. And because of all of that, they have been able to increase their market share in the market from 2006, a 3% market share. They doubled to 6% in 2016. And also they have again a home loan business where they have tried to understand the segments, the areas, they have understood it well, and they have a very stringent checklist and all. And the management is very averse to taking debt, but when there are times to go aggressive, when the loans are available at a very low rate, they have taken in certain times. And that is where I was telling that it's a double-edged sword, but it could be very beneficial if one knows how to utilize it. So it's a very interesting case study. Try to look if in India or if anywhere these kind of business models are. But question coming to how to play this cycle, to understand that we should first try to see where are we in the cycle. And if we see the cycle time since 2014, the industry is on the downside. The prices are almost constant. Kuch bhi acha nahi hua hai. So we are almost 7 years done. That is one. Rental yield, it's not very attractive. It varies city to city, but 3% से ऊपर का है नहीं. So still it doesn't look lucrative. Interest rate, yes, it is at a 5-year low. Price CAGR last 5 year, it has been lower than the inflation. Maybe one or two markets like Hyderabad, which has, because of Telangana, Hyderabad, it would have acted in a different manner. But broadly in India, at least cities like Delhi or Bangalore, not much appreciation has happened. And again, there are different set of data, and it's very difficult to say because आप government के उस पे जाओगे, सबका अलग अलग data है, Magic Bricks पे आप जाओ. So I mean, it's more of a feel of tracking this market closely plus looking, but try to validate it from 2-3 different sources. But I mean, nobody has been excited about real estate and made money कि 10% से ऊपर का return बना है. What rational entrepreneurs are doing, and this is interesting, and those who are rarely bullish, they are bullish about it, and we will see in some of the case studies why I'm telling so. And government support as distress sign. So some benefits have been given. If you see the latest HDFC presentation, you will see some extra tax benefit has been given for 1.5 lakhs every year. And if you see the lender activity, NBFCs who are leading the hype cycle, they are, they have broken their balance sheet and they're still trying to fix their balance sheet. So this gives you some idea that in terms of sector, either we would have bottomed out bottoming out in terms of sector performance and bottoming out in terms of stock price performance, they are two different things. This is all related to bottoming out of sector performance. And it looks like we might have seen the worst, but the way numbers are coming, the problem is because of COVID, it's little difficult to say whether it's a pent up demand or how much is actual, how much is pent up, because एक बार cycle ठीक हुआ, एक quarter हुआ, then again lockdown लग गया, so it's very difficult. But still we have to go by these parameters. And if we see the reality sector, how it has done, you can see a lot of wealth destruction. And COVID gave a good opportunity here, but then we need to see relatively, because सब कुछ भी ऊपर जा रहा है तो इतना रिस्क क्यों लेना इस सेक्टर में. एटलीस्ट मेरा एक वो था कि जब बाकी सब अट्रैक्टिव है तो इस सेक्टर में इतना रिस्क क्यों लेना. Now we have to see where the sector is and अगला 3-4 साल कैसा होगा. And this has been a typical resistance level, but looks like this time it has crossed it, if you see. And next resistance looks like this one. So we are almost around 397, and looks like a 542 might be possible if it holds these levels. So from a risk reward perspective, applying technical analysis at an index level, it looks lucrative. If we do reality to Nifty, you can see reality underperformed from 2008 till 2016. And then the underperformance converted into outperformance. And then it has been constant in this area, but it's not underperforming. And this was the pocket of that affordable housing boom and all. And again, the next cycle looks like, the question is, will it turn this time? And that is what we have to see. Now, the first use case is Ashiana Housing. In Ashiana Housing, again, if you see the chart of Ashiana Housing, and this is the monthly chart, you can see it created wealth, then it destroyed wealth, and again, it is on the verge of creating wealth depending on who has entered where. If we look the weekly chart, it looks like into a very good uptrend. If you can, so those who know technicals or don't know, basically I am trying to find the higher highs, higher lows, and I'm trying to identify a uptrend, and I'm trying to create a channel line, and the stock is flowing in this channel. Also, if you see the volume on every rise, the green bars are very high. On consolidation fall, the red bars are low. The RSI momentum, it's always above 50 on a weekly level. So technical guys can play this channel, take a call where to get into the channel, where to exit, when to exit, buy at the below of the channel, sell at the end of the channel, or accumulate again at the below of the channel. If a stock comes out of channel, that is something to be cautious about. Also see the volume profile, how it is building. Now let's look at fundamental, and let's look at what has happened in last 5-6 years. See that whole wealth creation between 13 to 15. That time this company constructed 23 lakh square foot of area, and after 4 years this 23 lakh square foot got reduced to 8 lakh square foot, almost 60-70% reduction. Even with a good company like Ashiana, and I'll tell you why it is a good company, because of the reputation, because of no, they, I mean, they have done very less amount of delays. The customer satisfaction is very high. They have entered into South market being a North player, and they have been very successful in one of the housing project in Chennai. I know personally because their first property, I have lived in that property in Patna, and I knew about the promoters because of that. And it is one of the most ethical management. I mean, this whole delivery based model came in 2017-18, but they started following it 2-3 years before that itself, just to give more transparency to the investors. But even that kind of company went through cycle where there, and if you see the advances into FY15, you will know what kind of opportunity it was. And then because the market didn't do well, they also suffered. And then from this 9, they have gone to 11.6. But look what they have done in terms of area book. In FY15, from 7 lakh square foot, they have gone in FY20 to 20 lakh square foot. This was a COVID year, but still they have done well, and you can see all of this. And see in this quarter what has happened. From a equivalent area constructed of 4 lakh square foot, they have done 8 point, on the area booked in FY20 Q4, 4.14, and Q3. Look at the Q4 FY21 number, which is almost double. And look at the advances they have collected. The advances have become 2.5x. And some year, maybe 2022, 23, 24, whenever they will deliver, these advances will flow into the revenues. And it's a very conservative management, which doesn't give any kind of rosy picture and all. But the latest con call, see what he says. He says, I think overall prices are ready for a upswing after all within industry itself across the board. So for us also, price increase came in June itself, and it's not been throughout the quarter. There has been a COVID impact, but now over last, let's say 2 weeks, when the market has clearly opened up. Things seems to be coming up to the normal. It's not as if there is a fear or slowness in visit and inquiries. They are up to me and up, and if sales prices are going to go up, to three clear reasons. One, as I said, if you take up 14-year CPI and you take housing price in the market, we are in most places housing prices will be trending below inflation for those 14 years. Decades interest rates are at the lowest ever in the country. And third, in the same period, salary growth has happened over 5-6 years. Interest rates have come down. Housing prices have been flat. Salaries have increased, bearing the impact of COVID. And we had very few launches over last 3-4 years. A lot of developers that have exited the business. Capital for developers remains a constant. It all provides to me a long-term bull market in real estate for next 5 to 6 years. Now we have discussed many of these when we saw all those parameters and where we are standing. And there are a few guys who they talk, because I track them, I take with some level of credibility, and Ashiana promoters are one of those guys. And this is regarding the kind of numbers which they did, which is like very, very interesting. The second one is Oberoi Realty. So this is the history of Oberoi Realty in a sector which has struggled. 8-year, 5-year, 3-year history of sales, EBITDA, PAT, EPS. Not best of the numbers, but in such a market, not a number which is worth looking at. Also, this is one company which has generated cash flows in last 1, 3, and 5 years. If you see and even for Ashiana, I think they have one of the very good balance sheet. And I mean, I cannot cover one company itself can take 1 hour. So I'm just giving you a brief outlook. These companies are very interesting in terms of differentiated business models and all. And you should look at each of them separately and spend more time. I'm just spending little time to give a flavor of these companies, why there is something interesting. Again, a debt-free company. And it's one of the premium real estate developer in Mumbai, diversified book, where they have a residential business, they have office space business, they have retail business, they have hospitality business, and some of these businesses ensure annual cash inflow, and they use that cash inflow in residential to build and grow, plus even in some of these cash flow based rental businesses. And one of the few players with very light asset light balance sheet, works on very high margin, 35% plus margin, plus one, because it's in premium. Second, it's a design focused company. They give a lot of importance to design. And I think they are one of the few builders to get some of the world renowned designers to design some of the properties. Promoter, it takes zero salary, more relies on the dividend. They were one of the first mover to implement SAP technologies and all in the real estate space. The promoter has shown ability to sit and do nothing in bull real estate cycle and make attractive land acquisitions in a bear cycle, and diversified revenue sources. And again, some of the highlights of what the promoter is doing in terms of some very good sales which has happened recently. Again, we need to see how it is playing out, but we need to match technicals, fundamentals, all of that. There are certain important aspects where people are talking about what could be the valuation of the company and all. And right now, if you take remove COVID, they are generating almost 400 crore cash profit from their 300 to 400 crore from their rental business out of the malls and all of that. And it is expected that they have new malls construction going on, new hotel construction, and new office rental space. Now you could argue in COVID world, mall people log jayenge ki nahi, but assuming life comes back to normal, there is a good amount of estimate कि उससे ही आपको 700-800 करोड़ का profit आने वाला है. And then there is a residential real estate business. So all those discussions are here, and you need to read that. And what I did 1 or 2 years back, I did some estimate, and as per my estimate, the cash flow based rental business itself will generate almost 880 crore. And because it's a business which is repeatable, आएगा अगर आप EBITDA पे 10 times 15 times लो तो almost 8-10 हजार करोड़ यहाँ से आता है. And then they have a residential business जिसमें अगर आप if you take the kind of profit at a 7x PAT, that number came around 32,000 crore. So my estimate was by FY 22-23 they should do almost 40,000 crore ka market cap. But because COVID happened, all things have gone for a toss. But again, the numbers are coming back. These property construction, except one, is on track. assuming life will come back to normal, people will go to malls, offices, will occupy same amount of space. The story can still play out, and it is around 25,000 crore market cap, making a lifetime high. Uh, and we need to see how the sector plays out, how the story plays out. But this is the chart, and on a weekly level they have crossed that lifetime hurdle. यहाँ पे ट्राई किया था, नहीं हुआ था 19 में, फिर 21 में ट्राई किया, नहीं हुआ, अभी हुआ और वापस से पुल बैक में सपोर्ट मिला और अभी ऊपर गया है, एंड सम गुड वॉल्यूम्स वर देयर. So this is another story. The third story is not playing directly but indirectly, which is Canfin Homes. And this is the Canfin Home chart. Again, I'm looking at last 20 years of chart just to see what kind of wealth creation has happened when the cycle peaked out. And पिछले 4 साल में पैसा नहीं बना, and again we are reaching there. So let's see कि ये फिर से रेजिस्टेंस बनता है, क्या होता है. But this is the history of company. If you look at 10 year of data in terms of branches, customer served, employees, loan book growth, net income growth, EPS growth, revenue growth, disbursement, the company has done pretty well. And even if you look at last 3 year of data, which has been one of the most challenging market for real estate, even though their NPAs are a bit on the high side, still it's very respectable number with a decent ROE, decent ROA, because these two numbers are critical to lending business. And minimum 12% they say, and they have been regularly generating good ROE and decent ROA. Now again, what is interesting which has happened is, if you go through the latest con call, they were conservative enough to tell 2-3 quarters back that their margins will come down because of the NIM spread and all of that. But now they're bullish that they have seen the bottom and it is going to increase. And the reason they cited is कि कोविड में बेसिकली क्या हुआ है कि अभी होम ही एक चीज था जिसपे सब जगह लेंडिंग आ रहा था, बाकी कोई लोन ले नहीं रहा था. तो एवरीबडी वाज फोकसिंग, एंड हेंस द मार्केट बिकम वेरी टाइट in terms of low interest rates. Now given with COVID, all the things will go back to normal. यहाँ पे प्रेशर थोड़ा कम होगा तो they will be able to increase. But the other part is they're very bullish about the growth and the numbers which are coming in terms of sales, in terms of lending. They're very encouraging. And ये कोविड का नंबर आप देखोगे तो Q1 wash out था because they did business only for 50% of the days. But still they have been able to do. Just read through it. And even if you see the valuation, the kind of valuation, the peak, it was at 5 times book value. March 2021, it was at 1.73 times book value. This is their average book value. And nobody is talking about lakh crore ki kahani. The 10-year history is good. The problem which I see is some big guy has been exiting, like 11% का stake 2% पे आ गया 4-5 quarter में. We need to see when he exits and all of that. But fundamentally there is something interesting happening, and these are the things which are giving clues कि कुछ तो real estate में हो रहा है. Whether it's a 1 quarter, 2 quarter story because of pent up demand and all that, we need to see. And this is the kind of chart it has. If you see, we are again near the same 2018 kind of valuation. It is getting support. The RSI 50 is not yet broken. The highs are with good volume. So let's see how this plays out. And the last one is HDFC, where HDFC, we know it's a quality company. It's the king of real estate lending business. So if really the real estate cycle is to play out, my feel is it cannot play out without HDFC. And HDFC it's still at the same 2020 level, and which might act as a good support, but we need to see how it goes. So let's see how the cycle plays out. So ideally, these kind of cyclic companies, we should play more as a basket with some good companies, some ancillaries. That is how I am trying to play it, and let's see how does it go. But again, some of them might be pure trade. Some of, at least in this business, mostly I look for an exit, and these are not kind of long-term holdings. And if you want to read more about the sector, these are some of the books you can read about. These are some of the important links. I think Brookfield is one company in the world which has done really well globally, going and making right buy, right acquisition in the real estate space. So you should try to look at the interviews of Mr. Bruce Lat, and lot of articles of Mr. Monish Pabrai, who invested in real estate, Oberoi, PC Menon from Shobha. These are very interesting interviews which will help you to gain knowledge about the sector. So you can go and read about it.
सो दोस्तों, आई होप आपको ये हमारा वीडियो पसंद आया होगा. अगर पसंद आया तो लाइक कीजिए, डू ट्वीट अबाउट इट. If you have any suggestions, any feedback, any improvements, do put in the comment area. Also, if you want us to cover any other sector or any specific companies, do comment about it, and we will try to do. And in case you have not subscribed our channel, don't forget, do subscribe to our channel, and do look at our LMS portal, our list of courses, in case you are interested. Thanks for your time.